In this video I show you how you can create these cool little journaling cards. They can go into your junk journal, and I used up images from a book. I will show you in a moment. So it was this book, and I used up all the book pages, and I will reuse this cover and create a junk journal out of it, but in another video. So just showing you a few examples, and then I will show you how to do this. So as I said before, these cards can go into your junk journal just as a little addition, as a little journaling spot. So this is the same image as on the front of the book cover. So you can write about your daily life, you can put photos on it, memories, or just a few notes about your day, something like this. So I have many of these, many different things, but they are all done the same way. So let's put these aside, and I have really many of these, and let's go into the creating process. So you need your image. You can use images from a book, and you can use images from a magazine as well. So if you have a really big magazine page, you can use just a tiny little bit of the magazine page. So let's say maybe only this little piece or something like this. And I saw this idea on the channel of Treasure Books, and I will link it down below in the info box. You can embellish your cards even more. You can put on little things, so like a little butterfly maybe, or a little heart shape punched out, or anything like this, or a little ruffle. You can punch some holes, put in some eyelets or some braids, let hang something from here, and so on and so on. Natasha from Treasure Books showed it all in her video, but I just did this regular cards because I think the images stay for themselves very well. So you need your image. You need a bit of cardstock, for example from food packaging. You need something to back your card, to give you some writing space. So I already cut it to the right size, or nearly the right size. We will do the tiny little bits later together to back your card, to give you writing space. I like to use up a bit of book page or any paper, scrapbooking paper, tea-dyed paper, this dyed paper, this I bought on Amazon, for example, to cover this up, because, and you need some fabric. This is just a white fabric which I tea-dyed a while ago. When I put this onto here, don't know if you can see it. Yes, I think you can see it. You can see through a bit. And because, let me show you again, I let this fabric hang over a bit, so you see this short line. This is this line, and the image is a bit shorter or a bit smaller. Let me show you here. So the image is a bit smaller than the backing cardstock, and you would be able to see through a bit. Don't know if the camera shows it very well, but you would be able to see through a bit. So this is why I like to put on some book page or something to cover this up. Of course, you can use this side, this printed side, and just put on your writing paper onto here. And I will sew around the edges with a zigzag stitch. So usually you won't be able to see the edges, but if you pull the fabric apart a tiny little bit, or you did not catch the edge perfectly, you would be able to see a tiny little bit from the cardstock from underneath. And I don't like to have these things visible, so this is why I cover it in the book page and use this side as my writing side, to say so. So okay, let's start. I will use my sewing machine. You don't have to. So if you don't have a sewing machine, you will not have these threads be visible. You can use just a marker and paint a bit over it. You can just glue all things down, and do not use a sewing machine, but it happens. I have one and I love it so much, so I will use it. So I don't have to glue all to the edges. I will just put on a little bit of glue right into the middle. This is just a regular glue stick, nothing special. Then I put on my piece of paper to give me writing space. And if it's not the perfect size, it doesn't matter, you can just chop this off. Then I turn it around and do the exact same thing with my book page to cover it a bit up. It's not covering up perfectly. You will be able to see a tiny little bit through the book page, and you can see this image a tiny little bit, but because you put on your fabric after that, you won't be able to see it very well. So for me, it's totally fine. Okay. Now I have to search for my scissors. I will be right back. Okay, found my scissors, and now I will go over. If you put on a piece of paper for the writing space, for the back, which is bigger than your cardstock, then you will you want to put this on, as I did with this book page, which is overlapping, then cut it off and then put on your book page. But because I already cut this paper to a nearly perfect size, I did both of them together. So side note. Then I just trim this off. You can use scissors, you can use a cutting board, you can use your cutting mat, and don't know where it is, my craft knife. Okay, I don't know where it is, but I think you know what I mean. So just chop this off using your ruler. I would highly recommend to use a metal ruler, and then just chop this off to have a really straight line. For me, it doesn't matter. Oh, here's my craft knife. So something like this. But for me, it doesn't matter. So to have perfectly straight lines, so I will just eyeball it and use my scissors. And I like to keep these little offcuts for other projects, so you can rip out a bit of the text for other projects, or what I will do with these two pieces, because I have so many book pages left and so many with a bit of writing and a bit of white space. I will just put them aside and use them for creating self-made paper later. You can decide if you want inked edges at this stage. I don't want to do inked edges for this project, but of course you can. So now you put on your fabric piece. This is not the perfect size, but nearly, and I will cut off with my zigzag scissors, or my, how do you call it? So now I will put on my fabric, and you can see maybe it's a bit seeing through, so you are able to see through a bit of this writing, which I like really, really much. And I have no writing here, but I think it adds to the card anyway. I like it really, really much this way. So now I will take this to my sewing machine, turn it around so that I see definitely where to sew, and I will sew around. I try to, I do a zigzag stitch, and I try to catch the edges. Sometimes I sometimes I went a bit too far in. I did not catch the fabric at all. It will stay in place, but it can lift up a tiny little bit more if you don't catch the edges perfectly, but I don't mind. So I will take this to my sewing machine, and I will be right back. Oh, and I forgot something. So that your fabric stays in place better, you just will do the same thing you did before. Use a tiny little bit of glue stick, or maybe you have some of this glue tape rolls and roll over it. Something like this. You can use fabric glue or liquid glues. It doesn't matter. Liquid glues can seep through a bit, but you will cover it up with your image later. So I just use a bit of glue stick, put this down so that it stays in place a bit better while sewing around. And I have to admit, in my sewing machine, actually there is no black or dark thread, but a really light neon green. I will just use it just because I don't want to change it by now, and because I did so many of this dark threaded cards. So I think I will try out some with light green for this video. So I'm back. I went all around the edges. I think you can see it a bit, not so good. And the fabric stays in place now. And if it is lifting up a tiny little bit at the edges, you will see a bit of the book page, a bit of the writing, or a bit of the white space. And this is totally fine for me. So of course, as I said before, you could have inked the edges. You can do it by now, just using your inking tool or a makeup brush, something like this, makeup sponge, and just go around like this. I just decided to don't do it. Let's see, I think, yes, I went around the edges of this image with a bit of a darker brown. So that's it, your card is nearly ready and finished. So this is the space I started. Here I have a tiny little hole, but it will be covered up anyway. Now you put on your image like this, so in the middle. I started on the edge here and I had a few stitches left. Maybe my needle is a bit blunt, I don't know. Don't know if you can see it, but I don't mind anyway. I will just put this next to this so that you are able to see the stitches better. Now I will start in this edge again and will go around with a straight stitch. Of course you can use a zigzag stitch again, but I will just use a straight stitch and then I will be right back with the finished cut. And again, I forgot, I just took this to my sewing machine and thought, why is my image moving so much? Because I did not use my glue stick. So use a tiny little bit of glue again, just to hold your piece in place, the piece you will sew on. So that's it, our card is finished. Maybe I can go on a little bit, go in a bit more. Okay, I think this is fine. So I sewed around the edges of the image. It can lift up a tiny little bit because I did not sew all to the edge. I have a bit of space, like 5 millimeters here, maybe it's only 2 millimeters. So I just eyeball, but for me it's totally fine. It will stay in place. As I said before, you can put more things onto, you can glue them on, sew them on. Maybe I would glue them on because this is your bag, so this gives you a cool frame. You can see it better onto here to write in, but you can use this space for writing as well. Of course, you can put on a photo, something like this. Maybe you can sew a bit more straightened than I did, but I like this look really, really much. I like it to be not too perfect. Okay, so as I said before, you can put on tiny little things, wooden embellishments, buttons, paper or fabric, ruffles, and so on and so on. So you can get very creative with it. I hope this video gave you a lot of inspiration how to use images from books or old calendars or even magazine pages, and how to create cool fabric sandwiched writing spaces or journaling spots for your junk journals. So thanks for watching, stay tuned for the next video, and please like and subscribe for more videos, crafting, junk journaling, and some bullet journal videos. Bye!